What?
Huh? What?
Duck, duck, peacock.
Makeup.
Craig!
Coming over, Jeremy.
Whoa, Conky!
Whoa, Conky. This is not that type of show. It's not the one thing we're not supposed to talk about. That's not
You
it.
said you wanted your ear itched, right?
Oh, that's awesome.
That was an
What are we
ear
not talking
itch,
about?
right?
Hello, everybody. How we doing tonight?
Who's all out there tonight?
How many people?
Oh,
we got?
man. We got Bonnie and Terry, Steven, Marlene, Bugs Adventure, Dawn,
Travis.
Marydale, Shadow Grey Wolf. What you doing? Willis, Alan.
Lots of people.
Wow. I need a banner up,
What's
Guapo
the banner
will be
going
late
to
as
say?
usual.
Guapo will be late as usual. He might not even show.
What's the coolest thing you guys found today, even though we're not supposed to talk about it?
Man.
Coolest thing I found today. Well, I'll be honest with you. I went out to the schoolhouse and found out that nobody broke in last week. So
That's cool.
it's the coolest thing.
Somebody broke into the schoolhouse. That's really cool.
Yeah,
That's a big
that's
throw
the
right
best
there.
thing that happened to me all day.
All right, check this out. You guys let me know if you think this is a level of cooler. I think this is cool. Okay.
It's got to be cool.
No, that doesn't mean it's cool. Trust me. 1984, scratch and sniff, sealed Kool-Aid Man stickers.
Oh wow!
Now that's cool.
Now where'd you get those?
Our price, 49 cents. 1984. Tomorrow's video, you will see where I got these.
Nice. Oh. Those came out of a coin pusher?
These very well could have been in a coin pusher. George and I, we found a time machine in a storage unit, and so what we ended up doing was going back to 1984.
Wow!
And we found a 1984 coin pusher, played it, and we won the Kool-Aid scratch and sniff stickers. Unfortunately, the cellophane ages when you come back to the future. So. Yeah, and so does the cardboard, but still sealed. Oh yeah!
You didn't age, did you? Though?
No, I never age. Me and George have greasy skin. We don't age.
Silver Wheels Patriot says, "I made it." Thank you, Silver Wheels.
Dude, you want to see something else cool?
Is it more scratch and sniff?
No. Check this out.
Because I want to tell you about a scratch and sniff I found, but I don't know if I should.
All right, check this out. Froot Loops.
Again, Sam.
Froot Loops.
Sam, I am.
84 ponytail holders.
Oh wow!
Punch on the card is still there, sealed.
My sister might have had those. Because a lot of people don't know this. I had a twin sister.
Is she invisible like your wife?
No. My dad was a steel maker, not a glass maker.
I have to bring this up now that Jeremy's shown the Froot Loops ponytail holders. Real men put Froot Loops on their hot dogs. I'm just saying.
You may give those to Conky. Those would look good in Conky's hair.
Speaking of hot dogs, do you guys remember the water weenie?
Oh my gosh. I do.
You remember this? The water weenie?
Yes, you fill water and spray people. Tube? That is awesome. 2
quarts or more. Man, me and my brothers, we had these things going around like crazy in the summers in Ohio. Sealed, no date. Sealed in the package. Shoots up to 20 feet. That's my childhood summers in Ohio right there, man. The water weenie.
Wow.
There was no super soaker yet. It was just a water weenie.
There was
Does
no
that say Jaguar on the bottom right hand corner?
Yep. Sure does.
That's
all. You want? Hold on. Let me see if I can find the scratch and sniff I got. Hold on.
So, Conky, remember I called you yesterday?
Yeah.
So that's where I got this stuff. So
what was it? Was that like a storage unit or?
It actually 100% was a storage unit. Yep. Was a storage unit.
Somebody got a good one then, huh?
And George and I, we cherry picked, and we don't even know everything we got so far. But you know when the punch is still on the card?
Oh, the Pink Panther.
You know, the punch is still on the card. That's good stuff right there.
Is that going in an auction?
These are personal. These are personal. I'm going to keep them. You see the punch?
I see that.
The card punch is right still there. Still there.
Wow. That means more than likely it was never like in a store. That probably came out of a case and went straight to a collector from the case.
Now, I got a lot more stuff here, but I probably shouldn't show it. You know, there's some really cool stuff. I told George, I was like, you know what? All of those books, you know, that I have on the shelf on the other side, like it's time to start getting rid of the books and start putting more cool stuff up on display.
Yeah, what do you need books for?
That's what she said. She's like, you know what?
Everything's
You're never gonna read those books. That's you've already been there. You've done that, and she's like, you're right. Start getting rid of them.
Yeah.
Did you go get a scratch and sniff, Rob?
What's that?
Did you go get something to scratch and sniff?
Yeah, I do, but then I realize it's inappropriate.
Oh yeah, the other side. Yeah.
Is that something we'd want to sniff to begin with? No, probably not.
I can tell you one thing. It's from 1977.
Good year.
It was
A lot of
one the
inappropriate
best years
stuff came
ever.
out in 77.
A lot of good stuff came out in 77.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
So, should we talk about the first subject we're not supposed to talk about?
Go for it.
I don't know if we're not allowed to talk about it.
This is actually a new topic. This was not the topic that there's actually a topic tonight we're going to discuss that you're not supposed to talk about. We're going to talk about that in a few. And but this topic is, where's Guapo?
Has anybody called him?
I think you should call him Hales.
You could try.
Let me give him a call. Let's see what happens. My guess is he is chasing a refrigerator. That would be my guess. Let's see what happens.
It's summertime chasing a fridge. That's dangerous.
Some summertime.
Too late at night to chase fridges.
Oh, you know what? He might have upgraded. He's probably running after freezers now.
Ooh, that's a good idea for.
I don't know if he's going to answer.
I don't think he is.
Man, I guarantee you he's running, and he is running hard.
He probably lost his phone while he was running.
Hello, you've reached Guapo Legends here. Thank you very much for giving me a nice call, nice buzz on this very nice day. Leave a nice message and make sure it has a nice meaning behind it. Have a very nice day. And remember,
be nice while you're chasing the ice.
the mailbox is full and cannot accept.
What? I had the nicest message ever.
Leave the nicest message ever, and now I can't.
I'm out.
I was gonna.
Man.
Greg!
We're gonna get Greg on the phone.
Greg.
I mean, this is
Somebody
just
go through
crazy.
Guapo's voicemail messages and delete all those, okay?
This is just crazy.
Tricky Cheese!
Hi, Tricky Cheek.
Yep, hit that thumbs up, everybody. Show the
Right.
love. We appreciate everybody out there. There's only 181 thumbs up. We need some more. Man,
So you were prepping auction all day today?
yeah, I have a house in a gated community, and I'm doing on-site, online-only auction, however you want to look at it. But I'm not bringing this stuff to my facility.
Yeah.
And people had to understand. People are, well, can you take this? I said, I can move everything, but is it worth my time to physically move couches and chairs? I mean, there's some furniture that's worth the time to move it, and there's a lot of furniture that's not worth the time.
Yeah.
And then this lady has some beautiful pieces, and I'm the guy who also has to be the heartbreaker. She had this unbelievable antique parlor sofa. Beautiful. Mint condition, carved legs, clawfoot feet, and probably from I would say 90s, probably. Beautiful. Mint condition. Well, how much do you think this is worth?
Nothing.
$20.
Well, I told her, I mean, in the back when I first started in auctions, you probably could get $1,000 to $3,000 for that piece. Nowadays, you'd be lucky to get $300. But the antique furniture market is just so depressed. At least in Ohio. I don't know about other places. Mid-century modern furniture, hot as can be.
So the question is,
Mary Franklin, howdy. Woo.
If this place is in a gated community, there's going to be people going in and out of there for the auction pickup. Are they going to be able to get in?
Conky, that was my biggest concern. And the lady already took care of it for me. She talked to the management, and guess what? They're going to leave the gates open that day.
Oh,
nice.
Between those hours. So no one's going to have to go through it.
Nice.
So,
yeah,
I mean,
that's good.
I was so happy because I'm just thinking every time I call the lady, it's like half the time she gets the phone and the other half she doesn't. And then she picks up the phone, you can't hear her, and then you have to wait for her to open the gate. In the meantime, there's only one way in, and each there's 3 ways into the facility, but one way drive, you know. So you got to wait for that gate, and there's always 2 or 3 people behind you, and you always feel like I'm that guy holding up the line, you know.
Yeah, most of the gated communities I've been in, there's a gate for the guests, and then there's a gate for the people that live there that just sort of buzz right through.
Right, they should have a 2, right? Like you said, Conky, they should have 2 gates, but instead they only have 1. It's a design flaw.
I'll be in a gated community soon.
The nut house?
Yeah, nut house. Yep, the peanut house.
The peanut house. I guess that's better than prison.
The cashew. Let me cashew house.
Oh man.
Yep.
So I went to this house.
Wait, are you allowed to talk about this?
Well, this is going to get into what the stuff that we're not supposed to talk about. This is the lead-in. Are you ready for this?
It's going to be religion or politics. So here we go.
Okay. So on Friday, I get called from a lady. She just happened to start watching YouTube. Comes across Auctioneer Extraordinaire. Me going through stuff. She ended up inheriting her father's house. They were kind of estranged from each other in many, many years, and to the point where he didn't even know her married name. So she got contacted by the authorities and said, "Hey, are you this person's daughter?" "Yes." "Okay, well, now you are basically in charge." Long story short, she had the junk guys coming out. She calls me up and she says, "I have the junk guys coming out, but I got all this stuff, and I seen you looking at the video and watching a couple of your videos and some of the stuff I have, and you said it's worth money." Yeah. So I went out there and I put out the video the other day. If you haven't seen the video, guys, take a look at the video. I put it out yesterday, but everything's going to the trash. But I mean, everything from 35 millimeter cameras with beautiful lenses. Beautiful lenses. We're talking some toys, Conky, some slot cars. We're talking jewelry, pellet gun, toolboxes, tools, holsters.
Ghostbusters? Come on.
No, I wish.
Ghostbusters probably already went to trash, unfortunately.
Plastic rock LP records. And I mean, there wasn't tons of stuff, but tons of stuff that, you know, like everything, there's stuff worth money here. Vintage electronics. The one piece is probably $200 to $300 receiver.
Huh. And they were just going to chuck all that, huh?
No, even worse, Conky. They were paying someone to throw it out for them.
Throw it away.
They were paying
They weren't just throwing it away. They were paying somebody to throw it away.
And YouTube, the power of this platform that Mr. Hales, thank you, Mr. Hales. I always got to give him credit because I don't want to say twisted my arm, but I still got bruises, okay? To start YouTubing. But by this platform, this lady ended up finding me, not only saving these items, and I get to save them, and people are going to get to enjoy them again, and they're not going to fill up a landfill. And the subject I'm trying to get into not talking about is the death, okay? Because a lot of people out there, I've had so many comments out there because I deal more than any of these other guys in the arena of people that pass away. Okay. And unfortunately, everybody out there, I just want to let you know our demise is going to come sooner or later. And I'm sure Conky and Jeremy probably haven't thought about it much, right?
My demise, I think about it, yeah.
I mean, most people out there don't think about it. I have no plan for it. And, a lot of people don't have a will. You pass away. My point is, when you pass away, like this lady, she didn't even talk to her father for years and years and years. But she happened to be the next of kin. Okay.
Did you learn why they weren't talking to each other, or they just lose their phone number, or what?
No, I'm assuming, I didn't get into the personal aspects of it, why a daughter and a father aren't, talking. All kind of things could have happened. And, it could have been something with the mom. And, I didn't get into all that. But I know they weren't speaking. And then, like I said, she was contacted. Her father ended up going into a nursing home and couldn't care for himself any longer. So then she basically inherited the entire estate. Somehow the estate, because of how his pension, I don't know how his things are set up, they're not going to get the house, because a lot of times when you go to a nursing home, the house is the first thing they take.
Yeah.
So now, while I was talking to them on a Friday, I went on Tuesday and picked up this stuff. They were telling me they had all these die-cast cars, 60 of them. They were not going to throw those out. They were going to take them to a car show with their buddy and sell them. They decided to give them all to me and let me sell them. I appreciate it. But the guy they go to the car show with ends up passing away. Okay, I talked to him on Friday. They're going to the car show on Saturday with him. They tried to call him, couldn't get a hold of him. He ends up passing. They went to his house. They couldn't get in. The screen door was locked. They call the police. They go inside. They find him, unfortunately, passed away in the bathroom. So his next of kin is his niece. And he always said, my niece is just waiting for me to die because the only thing she cares about is the money. Now, why she's at the house waiting for the coroner to show up or, to take the body. Because basically police come, the police leave, and then you got to wait for the coroner. I don't know if anyone, I've had to deal with this with my father, unfortunately, but this is what happens. So while she's waiting there, the niece shows up with some of her kids. And she said, hey, I'll take care of the cat, because the guy always has a couple cats. He's loved his animals. She said, oh, don't worry about it. Just give me the key back. Okay. And then in the meantime, while she's waiting for the coroner to show up, she hears him talking. Man, I wonder how much we can get for his Mustang, or because he has a 2004 Mustang with 4,000 miles SRT or something like that. Hold on a second. Steve, thank you, sir. Oh, nice fish.
You.
But the guy's body hasn't even been removed yet. And the family are already talking about what they can sell to get money. Okay. And I just want to put that out there for people. When you pass away, you got to understand there's three things that are going to happen to all your stuff. Because people tell me all this stuff, in the end of the day, Jeremy will tell you this, Conky will tell you this, it's just stuff. It's meaningless. In the end of the day, it has no real value. The value you have out there is the friendship, like our friendship we have with each other, the family you have, things like that. That's true value. The money aspect of it, the stuff you have, and then the day, if you have to run out of your house, you're going to try to grab all your stuff. You're going to grab your most prized possessions,
I'm going to grab my dog and my wife.
Right.
Get out of the house.
End of the day, and again, this is Rob's hosting tonight, but end of the day, there are two things that are most important in life. Number one, your relationship with your creator. Amen. And the reality is you need to know, do you have one? Because if you don't, your destiny is out of your control. Your destiny is well, I can place it another way. Your destiny is in control. If you have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ as your Savior, your destiny is in your control. Now, I understand there are those out there that don't believe what I believe or place their faith in Jesus Christ as a personal Savior, and nor is this a place to preach or to teach the Bible. But the reality is that is the most important thing in my life. Hands down. You've got to know where you're going to go. and who you're going to be with. It's that relationship with your creator. You were created to have a relationship with your creator. Number 2, relationships with other people. So one of the things that I have taught for so long, and I still say to this day, I share it with George all the time, is you don't have a body. You are not, you as a person are not a body. You're a soul. You have a body. Your soul is eternal. Your body is temporary. And so people, when I say things such as people, I'm talking about the actual people, who are you going to spend, who do you spend your days with in and out in their temporary body. And then the other reality is who are you going to spend and where are you going to spend eternity with? And so those relationships, those people at the end of the day are the most important thing. Nobody at the end of the day on their deathbed goes, I wish I made more money. Nobody. They go, I want more time. And what do they want more time for? To make more money? No, they want more time with the people that matter. And that's what it comes down to, is generating that time with the people that matter. So those are the most important things to me. It's not the stuff, even though I do think, I think Flash Gordon, bottle caps, cap bomb, parachute, Flash Gordon,
cool.
is really, really cool. I think it's awesome. But at the end of the day, like you said, Rob, it does not matter. It's just stuff.
Yeah, we all like stuff.
It means nothing.
I mean, look at my build. Look behind me. I got a plane coming down on my head, I mean, we all like stuff. That's for sure. I mean, what do you think, Conky?
Well, I think, I've got a little bit of different view of, money and time and all that than a lot of people. Money to me is just a way to store your efforts. You know what I mean? You use it as a tool. So I don't necessarily chase money other than to say that, if I have money, maybe I can spend a little less time working for it. So the whole money-time relationship is sort of intertwined for me. And it all really just boils down to, how much can you make in an hour? And then, how can you transition that into, now I don't have to spend time making money. Now I can spend time with my family. You know what I mean? That's the only thing, a caveat to, agreeing with Jeremy on that is, yeah, you need to make money, but it really just boils down to so that you can spend more quality time with doing things you love.
I'm one of those people that do chase money. I mean, I'm not. I'm probably, baby. Do you think I'm a money chaser? Do I chase money? She's shaking her head yes. So I do. I chase money. I'm a very passionate and very driven, a very motivated person. But you have to ask the question, like Conky just said, it's a tool. Why? Why are you chasing the money? Conky goes, well, I want more time with my family. I want a higher quality of life and time with my family. One of the reasons why I chase money unapologetically, and I hope this really comes through in regards to on the channel, one of the reasons why I chase money is to give back, is to be able to bless others and organizations. And it comes down to relationships for me again. So I could never imagine me not chasing money because I'm such a driven person and I'm such a self-motivated person. But you have to ask why, because at the end of the day, none of it goes with you. None of it at all. So why are you doing it? Hopefully for the right reasons versus the wrong reasons. But Rob, I don't know. What are the right reasons and the wrong reasons for chasing money?
Well, I mean, a lot of people out there will tell you it's wrong to chase money in the first place, which the Bible will tell you it's not wrong to chase money. Money is a good thing. It's that anything in your life that controls you is a bad thing. Okay.
So usually they take a verse out of context. They go, the love of money is the root of all evil. And then they tell you, oh, money is the root of all evil. Wrong. The love of money is the root of all evil. You see how the Bible doesn't say the love of people is the root of all evil. The love of your creator is no. It's the love, where you place your love. That's the root. There's plenty of money. It's okay to make money.
Yeah, and I mean, and Jeremy and I and Conky, I mean, we're all chasing it. We're not out there chasing the money. We're chasing it for reasons better than, it's not about the money aspect of it. It's about bigger things than the money aspect, like spending time with their family, giving to charities and things, or people that we know that need it, or helping out others and things like that. So there's bigger things that go with it than, oh, I just want all this money for, I can buy a big gold chain and buy a big flashy car. And, because the guy, I mean, like my 19-year-old employee, he laughs at me and he's like, man, you got this beat up truck, it's all rust falling off and everything else. He's like, well, you should have a nice car. And I said, now he realizes after working with me for a while, why I don't have a nice car. Because I just need a work truck. I just need a work truck. Yeah. A to B. I don't need, if I show up at a house in a Mercedes, you think my tenants want to pay me my rent? No.
Why does Jeremy wear gray hoodies and stained and ripped up shorts everywhere he goes during the summer? But we'll hand over $150,000 to Camp Patmos. Who cares?
There's bigger and better things out there.
So much bigger and better things out there than for me to wear different colored hoodies and new shorts.
You see what I wear every day.
It's a good shirt, though, man. I gotta admit that. That goes with anything. You could put a suit jacket over that.
And I tell you what, it brings out my eyes.
That's true.
Now, the other part about this whole thing I was trying to get to, and people out there in the chat, I like seeing everyone out there, one, I want in the chat, if you guys, I just want to put yes or no if you have a plan for after you pass away. Everyone thinks you have a plan, but if you actually pass away today, okay, and no one wants to think about this, but I mean, you don't have a plan, then your stuff, if you don't have a will, what happens to your stuff? I've seen people lose all, like they thought one thing was going to happen, but then it didn't happen the way they thought because their father or their mother or their grandparent didn't put it what they promised in writing. And when that happens, I've seen families get in huge feuds, fights over money, and it's so horrible. And that's why, like, when my father passed away, I told my mom I didn't want anything. I didn't care. My one sister wanted to grab this. My brother wanted this. I said, let them take anything. I don't want any of it. Because I see what happens over families over stupid items. It's just stuff, people, stuff. Go ahead.
So what do you have in place, Conky and Rob? Or do you have anything in place?
Well, I know what you have in place, and, I wish I had that aspect. I need to get to that level.
And I can share what I have put in place, but I was going to ask you guys to see what you guys got first.
Well, we have, our wills, obviously, and we have most of our investments in the type of, it's like a trust where, it just changes beneficiaries so that,
Noreen said Donna gets the Conky Empire.
She gets all the Subarus.
No, she gets the Hot Wheels.
Hot Wheels and Subarus.
I have to admit, I think I have had the conversation with her and Noreen with the Hot Wheels. These are the most valuable ones here. These are this and these are that. And eventually I just said, what, anything happens to me, just call Rob. Have him come in and auction.
Yeah, just have Rob do it.
I hope I never have to do that. Hopefully you're buying my Hot Wheels for me, Conky.
We'll just have to see who lasts the longest, I guess.
So what I put into place is years ago, many years ago, probably coming up on 20 years ago, I established a trust. And so that is the Hales Family Trust. And that's the name of it. Whenever you establish a trust, you name your trust. And basically, in a nutshell, I've tweaked some things in my long-term planning. But in a nutshell, what happens is my will is set up to where everything goes to George. So, but it doesn't just blanket statement, just go to George. It actually all funnels into the trust. So I have children as well. So the children are broken down in percentages as well. And that this is the easiest way to explain it to everybody. Okay. George is the primary beneficiary. My children are secondary beneficiary. And And then Camp Patmos is a beneficiary as well. So one of my dreams is the ranch in Florida would actually, once George and I are gone, that would go to Camp Patmos, and Camp Patmos would generate another ministry and a camp. I want to purchase more property there. I want all the property that touches the property there. But Camp Patmos is a huge part of my long-term end goal as well, for the ministry of Camp Patmos to continue to thrive and for that legacy to go on. But in a nutshell, I pass away, everything goes and flows directly into the trust. Okay. Everything, all cash, all properties, all businesses, all assets, everything directly flows, boom, right there into the trust. Okay. So you had it all out here, is all out here, goes into the trust. Then my legal team actually helps manage the trust. So George will have lawyers helping her and assist her on this, you should liquidate this, don't liquidate this investment you can continue on. If you want to, we can liquidate this for you. But basically, the legal team will guide her and direct her and help her manage all of that and what she wants to do. Now, for the kids, let's say the kids all of a sudden, dad's gone, and there's this huge bulk of, we'll just call it capital, right? So one of the things I never, ever want my kids to have is, even though it's appropriate at times, but I never want my kids to have a free handout. I've taught them from day one, work. I've taught them from day one, we got chickens so that we can get eggs. And if we get eggs, we can sell eggs. And if we sell eggs, we can generate money. We put in a garden so we can grow produce. If we can grow produce, we can sell produce. If we sell produce, we have money. eBay, if we go garage selling, we can list things on eBay. If we list things on eBay, they sell, we make money. I've taught my kids the value of a work ethic and hard work, and we don't wait for free handouts. And so I never, ever want to see my kids come into a windfall of large sums of money. My trust is set up with rules and guidelines that there is only so much at certain ages that my children can actually withdraw from. There are emergencies, contingencies in that as well. As an executor can determine this is an emergency situation. Let's say Chelsea gets in a car accident and her car is totaled. And she contacts the executor and says, my car is totaled. I would like to buy a brand new car. And the executor says, all right, Chelsea, what kind of car are we looking at? And she's like, you know what? I want a Lambo. Let's get a Lamborghini. The executor is going to say, no, absolutely not. If she goes, you know what? I'm looking at a brand new Prius. The executor is going to say, you know what? Why don't we upgrade that a little bit? And let's go to here instead, so there's a middle ground as far as what would be considered emergency. And that all is guidelined in my trust. So I have that. Mary Dale said, Jeremy, you talk like my father did. I have that all set up legally and to where I feel like I know George will be 100% cared for, 100% cared for. And I know my kids will never lack anything, is probably the best way to say it, but they will never be able to be spoiled by it either. And they will never be able to not contribute to society or to others. And so the goal is to always instill work ethic. And when we had the kids, I always said, I'm not raising kids, I'm raising adults. From day one, my goal was to raise an adult, not a child. And so that's my system. All assets flow into a trust. Trust has guidelines and rules as far as how can be dispersed and how it can be managed. I have a legal team that helps actually execute all of that and manage that. That'll be alongside George as part of that process. And then percentage-wise, it gets split between the children and George. And there's things for Camp Patmos as well. And I probably am a little bit deeper and further into it than most people, to be honest.
Well, a lot of people don't give it any thought. Okay. And I can understand why. No one wants to think about it because everyone, it's like one of those things, hey, I don't want to think about it. You just put it off and put it off, put it off. But in my line of work, I see it. I see every aspect of it from the horrible part where the family, gets fighting and everyone's all angry, to the kids that get left a house that's a hoarder status and the whole house is packed full, to kids that they've had it all given to them their whole life and they really don't even care about any of it and just, throw it all away. I've seen it. I've seen so many different angles and then at the end of the day, once again, it's just stuff. My thing is I like to try to save things. I like vintage old things when they actually made things well, and I like to keep those things out of landfills. That's one reason I started this company, give it a second chance. And I think these guys will both agree. I mean, we all like, finding old vintage things. We like saving those things and giving them a second chance, or sometimes keeping them ourselves.
Well, I mean, yeah, I've got, when I change the oil in my cars and I transfer the oil into something that I can take and dump at the auto parts store. You know what I'm putting the oil in to take and dump at the auto parts store? A vintage, probably 70 or 80-year-old big metal oil can that the oil used to come in, like 100 years ago. It'll say like Penn's oil on it. I'm thinking about one that says Wolf's Head, And every time I go to dump the oil, the guy standing there watching me says, "Can I have that can?" I'm like, no. It's
an expensive can.
So yeah, I like using those things in everyday life because if you know what you're doing, you can pick them up cheap enough, and they're just cool. I keep some of the stuff in my garage in an old, I think it's a Champion spark plug cabinet. You know what I mean?
Don't I have one of those at the Florida Ranch?
I think you have one. I think I have one too. I was just getting ready to start to try to talk you out of that thing when you hung it on the wall. He's already in love with it. I'm not gonna get it. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about right there. Just like that.
Oh, nice.
So I've got 3 of those, and I fill them up with the used oil, and I take them and
the guy's like, "Can I get that from you?" No.
Nope.
No.
Or you can if the price is right. Make me an offer. You know what I mean?
That's true. Well, you guys know my building. I have all that stuff up there, and people always come in like, "Oh, can I buy that?"
Yeah, and you're like, "No, that's for display."
And every time I thought about selling some of the stuff, everyone always wants to give me nothing for it, And it's like, you really want me to climb all the way up on top of there, risk knocking all this other stuff down to sell you this one piece that I think is worth $150. You want to give me 20 or 40 bucks for it,
In regards to my kids and how I raised them, even though that's not the subject, I will, as a proud father, say that my oldest, Chelsea, she'll be 23 July 25th. Chelsea last year bought her first house at 22. Nice. I bought my first house at 20. She bought her first house at 22. And I think she's figured this thing out. I think she's figured out how the world works in business, and so that's a good thing. She's got this thing under her belt, and she's figuring it all out.
Yeah, I think I was 26 when I bought this place. A lot of people are. A lot of people nowadays aren't really buying houses.
No, they're living with their parents.
Yeah, or lucky to be in an apartment.
Yeah.
But yeah, you said something earlier that kind of reminded me of a buddy of mine I had. Well, I mean, he's still my friend. I just don't get to see him that often. We used to work together, and he'd bring his mail in, and he'd be sitting there at his desk, open his mail. My desk was right next to his. And he'd open up something from his dad, and he'd open up and look at it. He says, "Oh," I said, "What's that?" He goes, "It's a check from my dad." I said, "Really? What'd your dad send you a check for?" He says, "That's about it. This one's $25,000. Like, oh. I said, "Why did he send you that?" He says, "Oh, my brother must have needed money, or my sister must have needed money." So what his dad would do is, if he had one brother and one sister, what his dad would do if one of them needed money, they'd go to dad. Dad would give them the money, but then he'd write the same check to the other 2 kids. His dad was a multimillionaire. He didn't care. He just, give it to him now, give it to him when he died. It didn't matter to him.
Yeah.
But everybody got the same amount, no matter what.
I guess that's fair.
I just thought it was funny. The one day he opened up the check. Yeah, like I said, it was either 15 or 25 grand. And he just sort of tossed it on it. Yeah, my brother must have needed money.
One of the things I did in my trust, which I'd be curious to see what people think is fair or not. I actually have a higher percentage going to my younger daughter. And the reason is because she hasn't had as many years. I have a thought process behind all of this, because she would not have had as many years to build wealth for herself as Chelsea and Jason. And so she's 13. Chelsea's 20, going to be 23. My thought process, I upped her percentage a little bit based on not having as much time in the workforce. And the other thing that I have involved in that is giving. So part of that whole process is giving as well, which is, I know you guys know, is huge with me, but I think I emphasize that over and over and over and over and over again. But that's part of the process that I thought through, whether right or wrong, whether fair or unfair. It's what Dad wants.
Yeah, well,
it doesn't matter. In the end of the day, it doesn't matter.
I guess, and the truth is, that's the child that would have the least amount of time with you because they're younger.
Yeah.
And maybe didn't learn as much from you.
Now, Sax, I've had a lot of different experience, a lot of different people I know. And like, for one example, my one buddy, I actually bought the building off of this guy, and rest his soul, he passed away. But his father when his father died, I think probably about 25 years ago, was worth $80 million. Had tons of triple net properties. And people that don't know what triple net properties means is basically he owned the land, and most of them were Walgreens or CVS's. They built the property. They paid the rent. They paid the insurance. They paid the property taxes, and they sent him a check. He didn't do anything besides get a check every year for a big chunk of money. And they would have to sign a 25-year land lease or something like that with them. So he had a bunch of these triple net properties and tons in Naples. But when he passed away, his stepmom got the $80 million. And my buddy, of course, thought him and his brother should have got the money. But him and his brother would have just blown it anyways. And so he got a stipend every year because his dad knew that they would just blow the money. And his stepmom knew that if she didn't take the taxes out, they would never pay the taxes on it. So they took all the taxes out and they got a stipend every year, whatever it was, $30,000, $40,000 at the end of the year,
So she's paying taxes for them.
Well, because she knew that, they would just get in tax trouble if not.
The irresponsibility.
Bob was working on a video. Okay. You're giving back some shine to this bad day. That's true. And we're always giving back. We're trying to help out. And, we're not out there trying to tell everybody, we do a lot of stuff and we're not out there telling people the stuff that we all do. And I mean,
it's not always the healthiest for a person who hasn't had money and all of a sudden, or let me back that up a little bit. I mean, we all have money in some way, some form, some shape. Most of us, vast majority of us have money. Okay. Even if we have very, very little, we have some money. But to come into a windfall of a large sum of money, whether that be $20,000, okay? So we just purchased a bunch of stuff from a lady that we found on Facebook Marketplace, and her father died, and she came into $20,000, and she blew it all like that, and she needed the money. And George and I bought a ton of stuff from her. And most of it still has tags on it still, because she came into that money and blew it immediately, and now she has no money. So it's not always the healthiest. $20,000 could be a lot of money to somebody. $1 million can be nothing to somebody. Somebody who's worth $80 million, $1 million is very little. And I try and stress that to people. $1 million is not a lot of money in today's world. It really isn't. You could spend $1 million like that. It's just $1 million in today's world is not a lot of money. But 20,000 can be a lot of money to somebody. And then you burn through it. It's I think it's always a healthier process that you learn through the process of the hard work and earning the money and accumulate wealth versus all of a sudden, boom, you just have wealth, whether it's $20,000 or $80 million, because the healthy process is you have to be a steward of that wealth while you're earning it and understanding the taxes and the budgeting and what that does to you in tax brackets and all of that, all of that process as far as budgeting and stewardship. But to come into a windfall, it seems too many people. I mean, just the same, as sad as it is, this lady burned through $20,000, has no money, has to sell everything, and George and I are buying it.
And well, that's another thing we're talking about. I was talking to these people today about stuff, okay? And the one lady I dealt with years ago, she was a hoarder, but her mom passed away. She couldn't get rid of her mom's stuff. So she packed her whole house in 10 by 10 climate-controlled storage units in Strongsville. Now, how much is a 10 by 10 climate-controlled storage unit in Strongsville?
A lot.
A lot. I think it was I think she was paying $190.
I was say it's upwards, probably close to $200
for each one.
This was 15 years ago, or 12 years ago. Long story short, she had 10 of them. She went bankrupt, okay? But once again, going back to, because people are like, oh, I can't believe the kids didn't want mom's stuff, or I can't believe you're going through this lady's stuff. You should give it all back to the family, all this other stuff. Okay, well, in the end of the day, if the kids didn't want it, I'm trying to get rid of it, trying to keep it and everything else. But like this lady, she couldn't get rid of it. It ended up costing her, she went bankrupt. She had all this stuff from her mom. She probably got lots of money. So she used the money, spent it all on storage. Then she couldn't afford anything else. So lost all the stuff in storage, and her whole house was packed full. And then she ended up getting evicted because her house was packed. So it was just all bad. I tried to help her out.
About your auction channel?
Well, I tried to help her, Conky. And I spent I would go there and be 2 hours later and I'd get 2 items. Because she'd be like, no, I can't sell that. Or we'd pick out some stuff and then she'd come back. No, I can't sell that. No, I remember when mom got that, And then at the day, the stuff, crushed her, financially, emotionally, physically, everything. I mean, she was broken by the time it was all said and done. And I know at one point she was over $40,000 she spent on storage in a couple years. Crazy.
Well, you've heard of the minimalist lifestyle where you just get rid of everything, and you've got your bed and your clothes and maybe a couple pots and pans to cook in,
a couple of Ghostbuster things, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean,
all you need, man.
It sounds like this could have benefited this lady if she'd have just gotten rid of everything. And
I tell you what, my wife's like a minimalist, and I'm the opposite. So
you balance each other out.
Well, basically, 2 floors of my house look nice.
Well, I mean, I could very easily be a minimalist. I mean, I don't need all this stuff. It's just,
Right now, I have most of my stuff that I accumulate right now is insurance policy, as dumb as it sounds. In case something happens to me, that my wife and 2 kids, and it's not easy because they're invisible. So it's hard for them to get jobs and things like that.
Yeah.
People don't understand because when you're invisible,
they don't understand discrimination against invisibles.
Right.
That's
That's
true.
So we're not going to talk about that. But, so I have this stuff that I figured, hey, whatever I need it for, college, financial, whatever. And then my thing is after kids go to college, I'm planning to minimalize. But we'll see. I'm hoping.
Can you minimize my place too?
You're talking about getting rid of books to add more stuff to your shelves.
Yeah, no. Now that I have shelves, it just seems wrong that they're not filled with something. I was actually just thinking today, I was like, my kids are never going to know the value of this stuff.
Well, that's the other issue is that.
And at that point, does it really matter? I mean, it's.
Well, yeah, it don't matter. It's just that you would hate to see, I told my wife, don't throw out the stuff I have here. If it's here, it's worth the money.
It's worth something.
Just don't pitch it, Oh, look at all these old comic books, Oh, they're only worth 10 cents a piece.
Look at these old comic books. I miss him. Just throw them away. Get him out. Get him out. No.
Yeah, my whole Batman collection. No.
First edition Batman.
Look at these old coins. Who would want to use this coin from the 1800s? Get rid of this junk.
Kids today don't want Hot Wheels with red stripes on the tires. They want new ones.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, man.
I love my wife, but, man, I remember the first time we weren't married yet, and I had a cabinet and the sink on top for a bathroom vanity, faucet, everything on there. And I had it sit in my basement because I figured I'm going to put it in one of my rental properties. And this is my old house before I lived in my new house now. And I come home and she's like, oh, I threw that thing out in the basement. You wouldn't believe it. Someone stopped in 5 minutes and picked it up. And I said, well, yeah, because it's worth about $200. I said the faucet alone was worth $70. Oh, and I said after that, she's like, I'll never throw it because obviously I'm laughing about it now. At the time, I wasn't too happy. And this is back in the early 2000s where, $200 was worth more than it is now.
Yeah.
This is back when you guys were first trying to woo each other, and
and
she couldn't really have a fight yet.
She was so proud that she was making space. I was like, why are you throwing this stuff out in the basement? Was there a purpose? Do you need the space in the basement? Well, no, I was just cleaning up. And I'm like, why? You don't even go in that area. Just leave it.
Like, woman, this is my house.
And after that, she goes, Robert, I will never throw away anything else again. And I'm like, thank you. Thank you. Because a couple times she's like, I thought about throwing that away. I was like, thank God you didn't.
That would have hurt, man.
Oh, it hurts, man.
Yeah,
I just think of like my mom. She threw away my Batman clock when I was a kid because my dad and I were working on it. It was in pieces, and it was underneath my bed. She found it. And she's like, oh, look at this junk.
Your mom did that?
Yeah, man. And I was always so upset. And then one year it was crazy because my dad got me for Christmas. He found another one and he fixed it so it worked. And then he gave it to me for Christmas, like, this probably 10, 12 years ago, maybe. I was like, wow, that's awesome, So I got that clock that he gave me. The first one we bought at a flea market together, and then he was trying to fix it to get it to work. That's why we had it apart, because my dad, he was an instrument repair guy. He could fix anything.
You can fix anything your mom doesn't throw in the trash.
Or your wife.
Oh, yeah. Like I said, my mom and my wife, they're saying they'll throw everything away. Like after my dad died, she was calling me up almost every week to come over and get more stuff before. If you don't take it, it's going to the garbage.
You're like, no, Mom, no.
Oh, yeah. There would be like silver coins. There'd be pocket knives. There'd be military stuff, old toys, Hot Wheel red lines. Also, my dad would go around in flea markets, garage sales, and he would always be buying stuff and putting it on eBay, And he had a good eye. He knew, like, he was cheap, but, if he could get it for 50 cents, $1, he knew it could sell for, $20, $50. That was his. He liked that big profit margin, something. Oh, I got it for 50 cents and I sold it for $27.50 on eBay,
Those are the good ones, man. Those make it worth it.
Those wood planes, they use the smooth wood out. My dad made thousands and thousands because you go to almost every garage sale and people would have them out there at $1 on them. And there's a lot of them out there. They're worth $50 to $200 a piece because they're old wood planes. If they're by Bailey or Stanley and they're certain number ones, they're big money. I didn't know that. And my dad taught me that. And then I made a lot of money in the auction business buying those and putting them on eBay.
Oh, yeah?
A lot of them, I averaged probably like $75 a piece on them.
Wow.
Yeah, old wood planes, those are collectible, man.
Yeah, it's just, and people still use them. It's just, there's things out there, these old, the woodworkers love the old woodworking tools. Like machinists, too. They like the old machinist tools,
Something about them that seems to work better with them.
Yeah, well, they're not made in China.
That helps.
That's a big plus.
As you guys know, like Harbor Freight, use it once and throw it out tools.
Yeah, but that's all you can really
come from.
That's all you can really get anymore is cheap garbage tools,
Yeah, almost. There's very few tools that are made in the United States. Most are made in China. But they don't want tools to last longer, refrigerators or stoves or air conditioners. Everything's supposed to only last 5 to 7 years.
The drawback to a cheap ratchet is, you like your knuckles, fine. Use a good ratchet. You don't care, use one from China and you go ahead and bust them.
Yeah, they had to strip the bolts and nuts.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Make the job 10 times harder.
Yeah, Scott Roberts says, I love Craftsman tools, but the later years, the Craftsman was junk too.
Is Craftsman still making anything good now?
I don't think so. I don't know.
Well, who does it? What, Lowe's owns them or Home Depot or something?
I think Lowe's teamed up with them.
Because Sears sold off Craftsman.
Yep.
So it was like the only asset they had that was worth money.
Yeah. Well, remember when Sears and Kmart were going in together? They were going to try and save each other, and it was a sinking ship. And
it just sunk faster.
It was 2 sinking ships that just sank even faster. Like, all right, let's do this together. Let's help each other. Whoa! Bottom fell out.
Man.
Yeah.
A lot of those places now, I've seen them turn into storage facilities. Like old
old Kmart's. Oh, yeah. Like all of them, man. Sears stores, Kmart's. Yep.
Like just in this area, they've built like in the last 2 years, I think 4 or 5 storage facilities in like a 10-mile radius from here. But I guess the demand, and hopefully Jeremy will be building a storage facility soon.
We're working on it.
Am I not supposed to talk about that? Is there another thing we're not supposed to talk about?
Not supposed to talk about that. You want to know what else we're not supposed to talk about?
Guapo.
That must be it.
We're not supposed. He couldn't even talk about it. That's how bad he wanted to talk about it. Yeah. So today's conversation, the item that we're supposed to talk about, we touched on the death subject and stuff after you pass away, and like I tell people, 3 things are going to happen when you pass away, unfortunately, to your stuff. And to you, it's all there's sentimental value. Everything else to other people, there's not that sentimental value. So they're either going to keep it, sell it, or throw it away. That's it. 3 things. So everything you have, you look around your house, that's what's going to happen to those 3 things. And you might have different thoughts than the person actually is going to be in charge. That's my point. So if you have nothing planned out, you might want to make a plan. And, you can talk, and, like I said, if I die, my wife, I'm sure she'll be trying to throw away a lot of my stuff. Conky, you better be garbage picking.
Yeah, what auctioneer will your wife call if you pass away, Rob?
I guess, they could just use the company still. I have an auction license, and my company actually has an auction license, Conky. You know that?
I didn't know there was different. I didn't know there were 2 different things.
Well, technically, you're not allowed to advertise auction. Like, now, all these other places get away with it now, but, with the online thing. But technically, the way the law is written, you're not supposed to advertise an auction unless you're an auctioneer.
Okay.
Now, the only exception to that rule is like yourself, Conky. You can have an auction and conduct the auction yourself once a year, I think, or maybe twice a year from your own establishment, your own house or building or something. Other than that, you can't go to somebody's place and do an auction for them. It has to be your stuff that you're selling.
Right. Well, I remember
Paul Bender, auctioneer. That's funny. My buddy Paul Bender.
Yeah, we know Bender.
Yeah. We've done a lot of auctions, actually. Paul and I, we did my biggest auction ever, and probably his biggest auction he ever worked was that one I did for the guy that was a billionaire. And we sold the, 2 Jaguars, a Mercedes, and a Bentley.
Was that one you just did, like within the last year?
Yeah, it was probably like 2 years ago now.
Where the guy was an engineer or something?
He owned a company, yeah. Multiple companies, yeah.
Okay.
He started off as an engineer and had some patents, and started a company, and then he has a company on the east side of Cleveland here, a company in Australia, London, and I want to say Germany.
Okay, I think I remember that one.
Yeah, we had all kind of artwork, statues, bottles of wine. I mean, we were selling bottles of wine for $3,000, Conky.
Huh.
It was a good auction. But it was about, I think, 9 hours, the auction.
That was an online auction, wasn't it?
Online and live. And it was like right as soon as COVID started, or it was like right in the beginning parts of COVID. Like, and not many people showed up for the live auction. With the people that were there were bidding. Then online, we had, I think, 12 or 1,500 people bidding.
Okay. Yeah, I think I remember that one.
Yeah, it was crazy. He had these bikes, Conky. Oh, man, they were like these reproduction. I'm trying to think of the name of the company, but he had 2 of them mint condition, like brand new. And like the reproduction ones went for $1,500 a piece. You know, I mean, they obviously weren't brand new because he brought them from the place to his house, but I think we sold them for like $800 and $750 or something a piece. But this guy, I mean, it was just unbelievable stuff.
I remember the Bentley went for like 65,000 or something.
72,000.
Okay.
Hi, everybody around 50, 60, 70,000 now. That was only, there was like a reserve on it, and then I had to work out all the stuff. And then today I got all 4 cars sold. That's all that matters. There's 4 cars and a couple sold, and then there's problems and all this other stuff. So I spent a lot of time and effort, but I ended up getting all the stuff sold and worked out, and it helped. Like I told my buddy Jeff, I said, hey, we're going to have to cut the commission down to get this Bentley sold because they want to do this reserve on it. I said, but a lot of people might not like, oh, I'm not going to take less money. Well, would you rather I have half of something or all of nothing? Okay, my buddy used to tell me that, and a lot of people can't get that through their head because they'll get so stuck on one thing. Their head's just butting against it. It's like, listen, it's better to, get half of something, a half of a $70,000 sale. Okay, obviously not half of that money, but a commission off a $70,000 some dollar sale, half of that is a lot of money. It's better than getting none of it, right?
Yeah. Well, as long as, I think the fear that some people might have is if they accept half on that, then it might be expected in the future from others. But I don't think that really applies to what you were doing, because who would know that you took half the commission versus the whole commission?
Right. And the only reason I did because they had a reserve on the vehicle, and we were close to that reserve, and they came down a little bit, and he came up a little bit, and I gave up a little bit, and so everyone, the seller, the buyer, and the middleman, all gave up a little bit, and everyone was happy in that because the end of the day, they didn't want the vehicle, and the vehicle needed to be sold.
So was the buyer buying it to enjoy themselves, or was it a dealer?
He bought 3. He ended up buying 3 of the vehicles.
Okay.
I remember one, and then I am selling them 2 more.
I remember I really liked one of those Jaguars.
They were what? They had 14,000 and 16,000 miles on them?
They were like coupes, right?
What?
They were coupes, right? One was a convertible and one was a coupe.
Yep. And they were the 12-cylinder real Jaguars. Yeah. Not like these little fake 6-cylinder ones.
Well, I owned a Jaguar one time, and I swore that I would never own one again. And that's probably one of the reasons why I didn't even think about buying one of those. It's because once you own a Jaguar, you don't want another one.
Yeah, my wife always wanted a Jaguar.
You have her get one. That'll cure her of it.
Yes. I don't know. I've had bad luck. If it's a foreign car, it's got to be like a Japanese foreign car or something. Like I said, I hit the Volvo the one time, and that was just, man, talk about bad.
No, I've had good luck with German and Japanese cars, but the English cars just.
Well, the Volvo's what, Swedish?
Yeah. I've never owned a Volvo, but when I worked for the car lot years ago, I drove one of theirs for a couple of weeks, and I really liked it, but I don't think they're very reliable cars.
And that's the issue. And my biggest problem was that parts you sometimes had to wait 2 months,
Well, what happened with my Jaguar was I bought the car, and every time I fixed something, something else broke immediately. Not a day later, not an hour later, not 5 minutes later, but immediately. And the first thing that I had to have fixed on it was, I think the fuel pump was bad. So I had it towed out to my mechanic out in Wadsworth, and he lost the key. And if you've ever seen a Jaguar key of that vintage, it looks like a really thick coat hanger that somebody smashed the end of with a hammer a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't just go to a dealer around here and get one. We actually had to have one made off the VIN in England and shipped over here. And the key cost me $80, and then it was another $20 or $40 to have it shipped over here. So I get this key like a month later, and it half worked. I mean, it would turn in the ignition and it would unlock the door, but it wouldn't open the trunk.
Oh man!
And after all that, the mechanic reached into his jacket pocket and says, "Oh, there's your key." So, yeah, I mean, he put the fuel pump in it, and then immediately after that, I forget what else broke, but then when I fixed that, the alternator went out, and then when I fixed the alternator, the brake line broke and the fuel line broke, both at the same time. And I fixed them both, but I couldn't get the brakes to bleed, and then I just called somebody and said, just come get this piece of junk. But it was a gorgeous car. Sitting inside this thing, all you smelled was leather and wood. Because if it looked like wood, it was real wood. If it looked like leather, it was real leather. Really
Nice.
high grade stuff. But could never get the thing running right.
Yeah, it's the issue with those kind of things, man. You going to the flea market tomorrow?
No, I was going to, but I've got so much work to do around here. I finally got the part for my lawnmower $300 later. Finally got the part for my lawnmower, so I'm going to fix my lawnmower and maybe mow. I don't know. I haven't mowed certain areas in over a month because the lawnmower has been busted and it's starting to look like it. So I got that to deal with. I sold. I've talked about this before. I sold one of my rental properties, and that's going to close next week.
Nice.
And so I'm going to start really ramping up converting the schoolhouse into storage, like paid storage for people to pay, store their stuff there. So I'm going to be working with Jesse a lot on that, trying to get that going. So I'm going to be busy here in the next few months. So the flea markets might suffer a little bit. I might do every other week. We'll see.
Just send Noreen out by herself.
I used to go to Rogers by myself, and I'd go and I'd set up my little tent thing and set up everything. And it's a lot of work when you do it by yourself. And then if you gotta, even step away to go to use a restroom or something, you gotta hopefully have made a connection with somebody next to you and say, "Hey, can you watch my stuff while I, step away for a minute?" And never felt comfortable going to the flea market by myself. It's a 2-person operation.
Well, Guapo, I think the one time he said the guy, his neighbor next to him, stole something off his table.
Yeah, you get that too,
That's the thing about the flea market. When you're by yourself, it's definitely tough because flea markets are a place that people that are thieves definitely target. And a lot of people don't even think about it, but it's easy because they work in teams, and the only thing I do is sit there and distract you, and then the other person comes over and grabs something off your table, and there's so many people at the market, they just got to grab it and walk away, and then what are you going to do, try to chase them, and then you go chase them, then that guy that you left at the table probably go grab your cash box, or whatever else,
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just one of those things I've heard about people. The one time, the one guy tried to steal like a glass display box,
Mm-hmm.
But the guy had a chain to the table, so he went to grab it, and the whole table came with it, And then he just dropped it and ran, you know.
Well, if you got a box like that, usually those glass display boxes have some, like lighters and knives and watches and rings and necklaces and pretty high-end stuff. So you've got a couple $1,000s worth of stuff and something somebody can pick up and walk away with. You definitely got to keep an eye on it.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you got a bunch of stuff in, like you said, one container like that.
Yeah. I mean, last time we went to Rogers, we set up right next to Jesse. And I actually, because some of the stuff that was stolen from me was reported to have been sold out at the flea market. So I took off a couple times just looking for my own stuff. Now, I didn't find any of it because, the people that did that got arrested and they probably weren't out there anymore. But, yeah, I was spending some time looking for my stuff. But I have a feeling if anybody would have grabbed any of stuff off of either, mine or Jesse's table and ran, one of us or maybe both of us would have seen how fast we can run to catch up to him and maybe not been so nice to him when we did.
Yeah, a long time ago, we used to set up outside my building. We do sales like a couple times a year, a big garage sale, And one time, the one guy grabbed, can't remember if it was a PlayStation 3 or 4, but it was newer at the time. And he grabbed and took off running, and my one guy chased him, and he ended up catching the guy. And the guy, he took the thing and he threw it inside a pool.
Huh.
And my guy's like, dude, why don't you just give it to me,
That's the if I can't have it, nobody can.
Yeah, he just whipped it in the pool. But, that wasn't the right thing to do, is probably chase the guy. But, yeah, he chased him, the guy that works for me. He grabbed him, threw him on the ground. But he was so mad. He's like, I would have just let him go. But he was so mad because he threw the thing in the pool. He's like, I chased the guy forever, and then he just throws it in the pool. I'm like, and it didn't work. We tried.
Yeah, well,
So tomorrow you got to cut your grass or fix your lawnmower, you said.
Fix the lawnmower, finish one of the cars that's in the garage. I've got so many cars waiting to go into the garage to work on. Like I said, tomorrow's just not the right day to go sit at the flea market.
I understand that.
As much as I enjoy it. And when we started doing it again this year, we realized that we hadn't done flea markets since 2014, I think it was. So it's like, wow, it's been a long time. And we long story short, we really enjoy doing it. It's something we missed.
Yeah, it's a fun experience.
I mean, you don't make
to hagger dicker with everybody.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to set the world on fire with what you make at a flea market. You know what I mean? Your time could probably be better spent listing stuff on an auction site or doing something else to try to sell this stuff. But, it gets back to, it's something that Noreen and I can do together. We go hang out at the flea market. We sit there and watch the world go by, and we're just spending time together. And once in a while, somebody walks up to us, grabs him off the table, hands us a $20 bill, and walks away.
Yeah, it's always a good story. Like like afterwards, you always talk like this. I can't believe they bought this or this sold and that's been. Yeah. It's always fun. You just never know what's going to happen at the flea market.
But we've been on for about an hour and a quarter now. You want to wrap it up?
Yeah, I guess we should wrap it up, Mr. Conky. I just want to say, everybody out there, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We really appreciate everybody out there, and we're going to say prayers to everybody out there. And I know the one person that gave a super chat, I think it was Michelle, said she just had her first cancer surgery, so extra special prayers for her today. And Conky has his auction Saturday night. I have my auction on Saturday. Jeremy, I don't know if he's doing auction Sunday or not, but he's having his live Sunday. And of course, the missing man, Guapo.
Yep.
He's having some little issues today, so we're hoping he feels better. So we got to pray for him too. Who else we got to pray for, Conky?
For Jeremy's internet connection, it just keeps going out.
It's always like right around like the hour mark. It always just boom. So we definitely got to pray for that.
Yeah.
All right. Lord, thank you for bringing us all together in your name. We appreciate everything you've done for us. Please bless anybody out there that needs extra blessings, families, friends, and all the subscribers out there. And just let our week and weekend be good. And let us all enjoy, our life that you've given us, our family, our friends, and just enjoy the time that we have on this earth. Amen, Lord.
Amen.
So I do appreciate everybody out there, guys. And don't forget, if you guys have it, I got some good videos out there. And tomorrow's video is the me getting banned from a storage facility.
Can we see that?
Yeah, I got banned. I don't understand that. So that'll be tomorrow's video. So I appreciate everybody out there. Any last words, Conky?
The only thing I can think of is you fart on site, you